Zion, I don't know if a lot of you are paying attention to the NBA. Zion is tearing it up. He's averaging almost 27 a game. Uh, I don't know like the full stats. I just know every time I turn on the TV and it's Zion, it's always he had 30 this night, 27 this night, 36 this night. Zion is balling. The Pelicans are the Pelicans. What I see out of the Pelicans, out of New Orleans, is literally what went down with Anthony Davis all over again, which is they're failing to put a team around him. They went out, they acquired Eric Bledsoe, they went out, they got Lonzo, they got Brandon Ingram, and I mean, for the most part, Brandon Ingram was an all-star. Zion was an all-star this year. But that the rest of that supporting cast, man, is just they are not getting it done. And based on Zion's post-game yesterday, it sounds to me like Zion's time in New Orleans could be ending sooner rather than later. So I watched my team yesterday. Knicks are on a 6-game winning streak, by the way. If you are not sold on the Knicks yet right now, dude, they're going to be a tough out. We are going to be a playoff team, and we are going to be a tough out in the fucking playoffs. As one of the number, I mean this. The numbers say one thing, dude. We're the best defensive team in the NBA.
Right. So just going back to Zion real quick. So apparently in his post-game presser, he was asked about playing at MSG, and he responded with that by saying, I quote, "I'm glad you asked about that, actually. New York is the mecca of basketball. I love playing here. I played here in college. This is my first time playing in the pros. That atmosphere, whether they're cheering for you or booing you, it's amazing. Outside of NOLA, obviously, this might be my favorite place to play. I can't lie to you." So, again, it's a little bit of like tongue-in-cheek, right? Outside NOLA, he's putting up a little bit of a defense.
He's obliged to say that so he doesn't get booed from here on out.
Right, and it also might be a thing. He at this point in his career, he's young. Younger players tend to gravitate a little more to the fan base and the organization that drafted them, unless their name is Porzingis. But we do know, I think, that Zion, the fact that he would go out and say this, in part it is, an indication that, he wants to be on that big stage. And I think most players want to be on a big stage, and Madison Square Garden is a huge stage, even when the Knicks are sucking, as you can attest. When they're really bad, it's still going to be on prime time. It's still going to be shown. They're still going to be talking about Madison Square Garden and the Knicks. But I think also, though, it also comes to the fact that, again, it's also one of those things where I think he can legitimately understand that playing in New York right now, like going in to play Madison Square Garden, is a big deal because he's watched people play there for decades or his entire life. And, this is it's kind of like a story thing. So it also just might be him being like, man, this is just a dope place to play. I can't believe I'm playing at Madison Square Garden. So it's a big deal to him. But, you think that he might be going to the Knicks eventually. We talked about this a little last week, but why do you say that, though, in general? Because I know these comments kind of indicated that a little bit, but in general, why do you think he's going to end up, whether it's 2-3 years down the road, as a New York Knick?
So number one is, if you would have watched the interview, I don't know if any of you have seen the interview. If you go and watch the interview, his face lit up when he was asked at Madison Square Garden. That's number one. Number two, his words were, "I'm glad you asked that," meaning he knew that question was coming. He knew the question was coming, and he was ready to answer it. Number three, and now I'm going to get into the more specific stuff, is he has a relationship. I think he has a relationship with the agency that CAA, I think he's a part of CAA or something like that. The agency, the Worldwide West, the guy who's now the president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks. He has ties to the president of basketball operations with the New York Knicks. His best friend and college roommate, RJ Barrett, is pretty much, even though Julius Randle's balling out, the cornerstone of that franchise is RJ Barrett, who is his best friend, who, if you follow them back to college, I mean, there's a reason those two went to college together, which was to play with each other. And if you go back and you look at RJ's comments on draft night, one thing that was asked about RJ when it came to Zion, RJ responded and he said, I'm recruiting him. I'm already recruiting him to come here. So you have that relationship within the organization with basically the cornerstone of our franchise happens to be his best friend. And just given what's going on in New Orleans, how they're not winning. And if you look at Zion, you look at his face, he does not look happy. Like, it gets to a point where you're a Cavs fan, dude, and you remember it gets to a point where a player just gets tired. As much as he might have an emotional tie to a place because he was drafted there, dude, a dude just gets tired of losing regardless.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I get that. I get
a
that.
dude just gets tired of losing, and it's already been made evident. New Orleans has made it very clear. Like, they had a youth movement down there. They got Lonzo. They've already made it clear. Eric Bledsoe, he's getting up there. He's what, 31, 32. He's not part of their future.
Wow, Eric Bledsoe's only 31. I thought he was way older.
He drafted in 2010.
That's
he was
crazy.
20 at the time, so he's up there in age. He's not part of the New Orleans future. The only real part of New Orleans future that they really have right now, I mean, they have Jackson Hayes, who's like, he's just a rim runner, and they have Brandon Ingram. They already made it clear. Lonzo, if a team offers Lonzo north of 18 mil, they're not matching. So they're pretty much gonna let Lonzo walk, because there will be a market for Lonzo in the offseason. They're gonna let Lonzo walk. New York is probably gonna be in that sweepstakes, by the way. We're probably gonna get Lonzo, by the way. Based on
do you want to pay Lonzo a max contract?
It's not up to me. It's up to Wes. And I think Wes would be willing to, just because we don't have a point guard. We need a point guard. Derrick Rose is not the point guard of the future. He's more or less a bridge to our next guy. And we already have Emmanuel Quickly, but I think Quickly is more of like a Lou Williams type, where you bring him off the bench and he, you could play him 25 minutes a game and he can give you, 15 to 20 off the bench. So that's what I think about that. But with regards to Zion's long-term future in New Orleans, I don't see it. Remember, dude, this is an organization. They fumbled the bag on Chris Paul. He left. They fumbled the bag on Anthony Davis. And mind you, he carried them to the playoffs, but you could visibly see he wanted out. And you normally see this out of small market. You normally see this out of small markets where dudes, they get tired of losing. And after a while, they just say, you know what? I'm going to go to a big market. And the reason why I think I could see Zion in New York in the future, just because the culture has changed. Tibbs has instilled more of like a blue collar culture. They're winning. We're on a 6-game winning streak right now. Probably going to make the playoffs. This is a team that Vegas projected to win 22 games this year. Not only are they past that, but they're in contention not just for the play-in tournament, but to potentially make a run at the 5 or the 4 seed in the playoffs and potentially host a playoff series. That's the kind of job Tibbs has done. And it's only going to get better with the more talent they bring in. So that's where I could see Zion ultimately a couple of years from now, if things don't change in New Orleans. That's where I could see Zion picking up and going to a bigger market. And I think New York is the leader.
Yeah, I mean, so I get the argument, right? I get that, they're based off these comments, that also based off of, your prior knowledge, right? That New York could be a destination for Zion down the line. But the argument that comes up, and I think it's a valid one, whenever we talk about, who's going to go to the Knicks or who are the Knicks going to get this free agency, is how they've been burned in free agency historically in the past 10, 15 years. Whether it was LeBron. Everyone was excited. Oh, my God, LeBron is going to come to the Knicks, and the Knicks said he's going to take over the Garden. He's going to run the show in New York. And he didn't. Then they had to settle, obviously, for Amari Stoudemire. Then you had the big one 2 off seasons ago with KD and Kyrie Irving snubbing the Knicks. Everyone thought KD was going to the Knicks, by the way. This was like, even people who hated the Knicks, this was a foregone conclusion to them that KD is going to the Knicks, and it's likely that Kyrie would be following him there. But that didn't happen. Instead, they both went to the crosstown rival and made the Brooklyn Nets hugely relevant again. So that, I think, was a big time mistake on behalf of the New York Knicks, and it's also a big blight on who they might be able to get down the line. Are they going to be able to get, a top free agent? I don't think so. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.